Good morning, good evening. Welcome to this week's live chat. I'm just reading through the comments that have happened. I've moved my camera around and now I've got to move my seat and I'm just like not happy. That's very loud. Let me just fix that up. Hang on, sorry. I didn't realize how loud that was. Let's go. The sun setting is setting in the States from Home Rapid Repair. Dimmy Hart is in the chat. Great to see you, Dimmy. Almost time to light this candle. Yeah, it is. It is. Now, look, let me just, I've got to check something because I think I've got it. Yeah, the widget is set up now. I shouldn't have to redo anything with that every time. In saying that, I forgot to go in and add the audio, so I'm still going to have to do that manually when I remember. So thank you, live stream consultants. I've had like a really crazy couple of weeks. Also, good afternoon. Great to see you. Us plus Dad, great to see you in the stream. So good to see you. I was chatting with Doug this morning. I'm like, you know what? It's like 10 minutes to live stream. I should probably get out of my pajamas. Because it is 9 a.m. here in, I would like to say sunny Queensland. It is not sunny, it's raining, which we actually need the rain. So I'm not going to complain too bitterly about that. It's like that perfect weather for you just to chill and kick back on the couch with a hot coffee and just for me some craft. I don't know what you like to chill back on the couch with, Netflix, whatever, and just sort of let the time slide past you. And I do that a little bit. That's how I try to keep calm. That's how I try to sort of relax and keep focused, is I actually give myself the time in the week to do that. So part of it is I've learnt over the years, I actually have a broken body. My body does not like me. I've got one knee that needs replacing, the other one that's not far off it, you know, all these issues. So I've learnt sometimes I have to rest. I have chronic lung issues. So sometimes I can't breathe properly. And so I've learnt to give myself some time every single week, not wait until I'm trashed, which is what I used to do. Basically, I would just push and then my body would go, nope. And then boom, I'd be down for weeks with like a cold, then my asthma would kick in. And then because I'm less moving around, my body aches more and my knees ache and everything is horrible. You know, it just compounds and compounds and compounds. So I have learnt, don't let that happen. Don't push until you're sick. Let yourself rest. Give yourself some time every single week. And it doesn't have to be a whole day. It could be part of a day. It could be something that you enjoy doing, like that's not work related. But it needs to be something that you know just allows your body to relax and rest. So let me know in the chat, what is it that you do to allow your body to relax and rest? Absolutely. Rain in winter is rare here for sure. And everything's just that little bit dry and crispy. Now we do have a Louis cam today, so let's just pop that on. Big boy Louis is in the house. Let me just see if I can, there we go. He slid up his blanket. So big boy Louis, you're on camera today. Just watch what you're doing. This week in the live stream, Louis was doing inappropriate things. So we had to have a discussion about what was appropriate on camera. And he told me, you have to tell me when you turn the camera on, Mum. The camera is on, dude. So each week, it's usually a Sunday for me. Now, the reason why I do it is because I'm a zombie already. Okay. So, Saturday nights, I have so much fun. I have Doug's live stream that he does that is 8 a.m. Eastern, but it's 9 or 10 o'clock p.m. my time. And then we roll straight into Nick's live stream. Sometimes there's a Daryl or an Andrew Can after it. So it can be 4 a.m., 5 a.m. before I'm going to bed, my time. And for some reason, I can't just, sleep 8 hours. My body only lets me sleep for 3 or 4 hours after those because it's like, oh, it's daytime. You're supposed to be awake. So I used to try and push through on the Sundays and try and get all the chores done and try and do all these things. And I've just learned that I cannot do that. So on Sundays, I have a little pile of craft next to me. I bags the remote. I'm like, this is my chair. I'm in my chair. And I just chill for the day. And I don't really do a lot. And it feels like a bit of a waste of a day, but I actually get a lot of enjoyment out of doing the craft, which is great. Yeah, me too. But lots to think about. Let's have a look here. Dimmy Hard says, I go out into nature to relax, fishing, hunting for mushrooms, taking photos of the birds. That's beautiful. I like to go, like, I live in the suburbs, and I definitely like to get my feet in the grass. Definitely. Definitely like to get my feet in the grass, for sure. Live stream consultants likes to go flying through a river canyon 50 feet off the water at 130 knots following the river. Yep, that will relieve any issues that I had. Wow, that sounds quite low to me. Like, is that relaxing, or does it just get your adrenaline up so high that you just forget about everything else? I don't know. Yeah, Doug and I chatted again after Nick's stream this week, so that was good. Was tired on Sunday though, but I got a chunk of editing done. Awesome. Legal Minded Friends Karen Cole is here. It's great to see you, Karen. Home Rapid Repair now gives into the occasional nap. When I was younger, I would always just push through. And you know what? I think it is because I am getting to an age now where I will just have I always have a nap on Saturday afternoons now, so that I can work through for Doug and for Nick and for the others that may or may not be live streaming or just chatting to Doug later. I have a nap because I've worked out that if I didn't, Sundays I was a total zombie. I couldn't put a sentence together. I would just sort of sit there like this, like, and my husband would come out and talk to me and he'd go, like, yeah, nah, and just walk off. And he would stop mid-sentence. Like, he would realize that my brain was not taking in what he was saying. Whereas I used to be that person who would, like, go out the night before, have an hour and a half sleep, go to work, no problems. And definitely not that now. Nope. The focus that is required to do that makes you let go of everything else. Afterwards, I'm good to go. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Sometimes, like, and you know what? I agree with, like, I'm a person who has hyper-focus moments. So I have hyper-focus moments every day. I'm starting to realize when they're happening. So I quickly move things into my calendar. Like, I shuffle the day around, like, oh yeah, I'm in for the long haul today. So I will shuffle things in that just need concentration and focus, and that I can just plow through, and that I don't have to constantly stop and start something else. Trying to use my different brain things as superpowers as I can. So yeah. Legal Mind with Karen says, I've napped all my life. It's a French thing. We shut down for a couple of hours in the afternoon. That is awesome. And yeah, I don't think it's just the French either. There's a few different nationalities that like to have a bit of a siesta or an afternoon nap. And especially if it's a sort of an area where there is a nightlife, or whether, you know, you go out for dinner regularly and things like that. It's like a I would say regional thing. So yeah, and I love that. I love that it's been normalized, and I think it's great. I've got coffee here today. So I have got my Yeti cup. Now I do just want to open something here. I'm trying to remember to do this every stream. I have added in the Buy Me a Coffee link. I have pinned it, and I have it here. So I think I've done all the things, so I shouldn't have to mention it. But it's there if you want to top up the coffee. This morning, it's just totally off topic, but this morning my Australia Post delivery guy turned up, and he's just like, I had to change my route today, and I've gone, why? And he was like, your coffee is driving me insane. I had to change the route so that I could drop yours off. He's like, he got me to write down where I get my coffee beans from, because he's like, they just smell so good. He goes, I deliver coffee beans all the time, but yours were just permeating the entire van. I'm like, well, that's either a good thing or a bad thing. I'll check if my bags are sealed. So yeah, coffee is life. Now I did just what was I going to do? I was just going to go and just open something just to double check that I was all good here. Bear with. Let me know in the chat. Are you a coffee or a tea person? Because I'm both. I like coffee for the morning and then tea for the rest of the day. And then every now and again, like on a Saturday evening, I'll have an extra coffee. But other than that, I'm like 2 coffees a day. I was an 8 coffee a day person, and I had to sort of rein that in. So let me know in the chat. I'll open this up to make sure I don't miss anything. Which I should have had open before, but I didn't, because, you know, what do we need this stuff for? Why do we need to keep an eye on what we're running here? There we go. Okay. Alrighty then. Let's have a look here. Dimmy Hard says that I only like coffee when it's iced. Come on, bring it over to... Yeah, there it is. I only like coffee if it's iced and 50% milk. Larry says Larry is a black coffee person. Nice work, Larry. Thank you so much for the coffee.
Coffee time.
I've remembered to press the button.
Coffee. Cappuccino.
And I just want to check something because I was literally in there 1 second ago and it did not show that you had done that. Oh no, you must have just did it at that moment. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay, thank you so much, Larry. So, yeah, black coffee is not really my thing. I like milk, not creamer, like actual milk. This is something I'm a little concerned about in the USA. I'm hoping I can get my hands on just some straight up milk. Legal Minded Friends with Karen is also both. She likes herbal tea and strong coffee. Livestream Consultant says 2 tumblers of weak creamed coffee in the morning, Diet Coke and iced tea after that. Nice. Dimmy Hard does prefer the energy drinks. I can't drink them. Like I have this thing, and I've gone to the doctor about it. I've gotten it checked, and it's not doing anything bad. But when I drink like those high energy drinks like V and Mother and all those kinds of things, anything with guarana or additional caffeine, so even Mountain Dew now. Australia's Mountain Dew never used to have the additional caffeine. It's only been in the last couple of years, but I can hear my heart beating, and it's so off-putting that I just don't drink them, because that stresses me out. But apparently it's not affecting my heart. I can just hear it. Like, I don't understand it. So anyway, I'm Doug is a tea person and have coffee for morning tea weekdays at work and 1 right before Nick's stream on Saturday. Yeah, I definitely like good tea. I had a tea while I was waiting for the stream today because I wanted to save my coffee for while we do the stream. So while I talk about coffee a lot, I really do only have 2. And I have, I like espresso coffee. So not that I don't like a good drip either, like a good drip coffee. Great timing. It was great timing. It was really weird. It was like, I actually just opened Buy Me a Coffee in the background to double check I hadn't missed any just when it happened. So yeah. So Legal Mind with Friends with Karen says, I do make sun tea in the summer, iced tea with ice cubes. Is that right? I brew my own iced tea, and it's because I don't like sweetened iced tea. I like my iced tea to actually taste like tea. So I use a fruitier but black tea mix in a big jug with like 2 liters, which is like just over half a gallon. And I put 2 teaspoons of sugar in the whole lot. So yeah. Real milk that tastes like real milk. Yes. I use the full cream milk here, which I think is about 4%. I think it is 3.5 to 4%. Yeah, not raw milk. No. I don't mind if it's homogenized and pasteurized and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Real milk is easy. We'll get your real milk in Dallas easy. Awesome. Thank you. Us Plus Dad says I do 3 to 4 coffees and then 3/4 coffee and then 1/4 cappuccino. Is that what you're saying there? Oh, it's common. Oh, that's good. Because like in Australia, right? I'm not kidding that every TV show in America that we get in Australia just does black drip coffee. And I watch a lot of crime dramas, so they usually complain about how bad it is. Black drip coffee, no sugar, and just creamer. And in Australia, cream is not really a big thing, and it's usually a powdered creamer here, and I've tried it, and I really don't like it. My dad likes it. I don't like it. So my computer just made a really big noise then. I'm not sure what that was about. I don't use sugar in tea or coffee, but I do make a lemon and honey if I have a cold. Yeah, I don't have sugar in my tea or coffee either. And that's the thing. Like, we'll be out and about, and my husband will be like, "You just put half a sugar in that coffee," and I'm like, "Yep." And he's like, "Is it that bad?" And I'm like, "Yep." So if you see me adding sugar to coffee, it's usually to hide the taste of the coffee. So yeah. Anyway. I could just keep talking about tea and coffee and all the variations, because I did ask the question, didn't I? So when you're live streaming, or if you live stream, let me know in the chat, do you currently regularly live stream? Just put a yes or a no in the chat. But when you are live streaming, what is it that you have to keep hydrated, and what is your hydration plan? Because, you know, I know it's a little bit of a joke over on Nick's streams about how I get him to hydrate and, you know, like have a drink. But the trick with the hydration is that you actually need to start straight away. So in the morning, I actually drink water before I drink anything else. Except for the rare occasions when my husband brings me a coffee before I even get out of bed, which is very nice. But usually I'll start hydration the second I wake up. And it's because just having drinks while you're streaming is not enough. You need to have already hydrated the vocal cords, and the waters and the drinks that you're having into are just sort of revitalizing and helping top it back up again. It's not actually to do the hydrating itself. So making sure that you start your hydration process early. So yeah, let me have a look here in the chat. Michael Sahovsky is here. Great to see you, Michael. Thanks for jumping in. Us Plus Dad live streams daily. Hey, congratulations on 500,000 subscribers. I saw that come through on Saturday and I was cheering. That is so awesome. Congratulations. And I am definitely with Roberto Blake on this one, that there needs to be something like a plaque or something from YouTube, because like from 100,000 to 1 million, really? 500,000 is insane. It's amazing, and you should totally be rewarded for that. Anyway, that's my opinion, and congratulations. Amazing Yacht Destinations is here. It's great to see you. Us Plus Dad has water. I also have water. Here we go. Definitely. Yeah, Doug was clapping. Absolutely. Like real life hands clapping, because Doug and I are on an audio call during Nick's stream. So we chat to each other so we can hear each other. Dimmy Hart says, no, I don't live stream, but I would love to, but I don't know what to talk about. Well, Dimmy, you've been here a few times. Sometimes we keep on topic and sometimes we don't. I don't know what your channel is about. Do you have a channel is a good question as well, like a channel that you regularly create content for. And what is that about? Because if you're going to be live streaming to that audience, you need to be finding something that resonates with them, as well as something that you can talk comfortably about. So I always say, like, think about what it is, like when people ask me, what should I make my channel about? I'm like, well, what is something that you love talking about and that you could sit down and just chat with someone about with no notes, no research for half an hour? And that's what your channel should be about. I feel the same way about live streaming. What is something you are... Ouch, Doug, that hurt. That hurt. But what is something that you can talk about? What is something that you're passionate about, that you love to share that passion with your audience? So that's what I would talk about. Obviously, I'm passionate about coffee and hot beverages and weather, because I can talk about those things a lot. But I'm also passionate about live streaming and helping you get into get into live streaming and not being afraid to give it a go. One of the things that I wrote just a little LinkedIn thing this morning, and one of the things I was like talking about was how my goal is to just show you that live streaming doesn't have to be all serious all the time, that it can be fun, that crap happens, mistakes happen, technology just drops the ball on you. Like, for some reason, the last couple of days, my Rodecaster will just randomly, like, the system will just start taking the audio through the system, and then the Rodecaster just takes back over again. Like, it's just a couple of seconds, but if I'm on a video, like a voice call with someone, I can't hear them for a few seconds, and then boom, it's back again. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So, you know, there's all this sort of like stuff that goes on, and I just like being able to just talk and keep talking when these things happen, or, you know, just being able to, I mean, I don't want to say ramble, because we don't really want to ramble, but do you know what I mean? Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Just that having stuff go wrong isn't actually the end of the world. It's just part of the gig. So being able just to keep going, and I mean, sometimes I get flustered, and that's why I have a be right back screen, because sometimes I just need a moment where I can just like take a deep breath, fix the issue, and then come back. Whereas other times, and I prefer to do it this way, which is live troubleshoot. So you can see that something went wrong, but I'm fixing it, and this is how we fix it. Because like Doug can attest to this. I'm a pretty uptight person, and when things aren't just how I like them, I will get grumpy. So when there's someone who's in the chat who I'll just be like, I don't like this person. Like, this person is annoying me. And Doug will be like, okay, all right, well, they're not doing anything bad. And I'm like, yes, but they're annoying me. So yeah, like Doug is the level-headed one. For sure. All right, let me have a look here. Excuse me. Us Plus Dad said, thank you. My wife went live for the first time today. It went well. That is awesome. Oh. Sorry, I just got that weird dry spot in the back of my throat, and it just instantly made me start coughing. It was so bizarre. I felt it coming, and I was just like, oh, this isn't going to be, oh, there it is. I'm glad that it went well. That's awesome. Congratulations to her as well for going live for the first time. It's always scary doing it for the first few times. It really is. What are you doing, Lou Dog? If you sit all the way up there, I have to move the camera again. There's an entire blanket. It's like, yep, whatever. No, that's it. I have to actually physically move the camera. Good job, boyo. Let's have a look here. Yeah, there was a topic. Ouch. When will you and Doug do another live stream together? Well, we did one the week before last. We're always talking about it. It's just trying to find like a time that is suitable, that works. You know, there's got to be a few pieces that go together. You know, I have to like not be in my pajamas, and you know, so that's a big ask. But yeah, Doug's like soon. Soon's a good answer. Us Plus Dad, I saw the vertical live briefly today. It was Us Plus Mum. Oh, I thought I saw Us Plus Mum in in Nick's stream on Saturday. So I was like, is it the same? I don't know. I thought maybe it was just you, but on a different account. So having that, you know, having that energy just to do the live stream the first time, and just understanding that it could crash and burn. It really could, which is horrible to say, especially when you're pouring so much into it and there's so much nervous energy around it. It doesn't, like, what my big tip is, don't make a big production about your first live streams. Like, sure, you want people to be there. You know, you want that to happen, but at the same time, if it's your very first time, you want there to be some kind of safety net. So whether or not you just do it unlisted or whether you do it to a smaller private group, so maybe if you've got like a paid community or something like that, and you can just be like, guys, I want to test it out. Are you willing to be my guinea pigs? And, throwing it in that way, making it so that they've got the option to be there or not be there, but it also means you've got some people in the audience rather than testing it out by yourself in like an unlisted or in a private mode. And it gives you the opportunity to work out how to interact with the chat, how it is that you want to interact with the chat. Like, you guys know, I'm here for you. I'm here for your responses, your questions. If I have a topic with notes, which I don't have notes today, I do want to get through all of those notes and I do want to hit all those points, but I'm actually here to answer your questions and to help you through whatever it is that's slowing you down from live streaming or from YouTubing or whatever it is that you want to be working on. And so I do prioritize those comments, but I also know that that's not the only way to do this thing. This game has got so many different ways to play it and still come out with success. So while I personally don't enjoy live streams where they don't interact with the chat, I also understand why they're doing it. And I also understand that it works for them for whatever reasons. So whereas I personally won't make the effort to hit those live streams live, I'll watch a replay. But whereas if I know someone's going live, like I had somebody in one of the communities I help out in, she was going live for the first time. And it was going to be after a Nick Nimmin live. So it was like at, 4 a.m. my time. I just waited up an extra half an hour than I would normally have just to jump in because she was worried she would be by herself. Now, I didn't promise I was going to be there or anything like that. But I in my brain, I was just like, okay, she's going to be live. She's nervous about it. I do want to jump in and see how she's going. So, making sure that people are having the success that they want to have. That's my goal. That's my goal. Tech for your needs. It's great to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Us Plus Dad says, yes, she made herself an Us Plus Mum account for chat. That's a great idea. It's a great idea. Home Rapid Repair says, I have 492,905 less subs than Us Plus Dad. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. She went live on our channel with the girls. We gave her a crash course 10 minutes before the stream. Oh, look, look, here is a deep end. Poof. You're in. Swim now. Gosh. Home Rapid Repair says, I agree with you. Worse is the streams that they only talk to their faves and ignore all the rest of the chat. Oh, I've definitely felt ignored in a chat where somebody has responded to all the comments around mine. And it's not like they were even like channel members versus me not being a channel member, because I'm totally cool with people prioritizing their channel members. These are the people that are chipping in every single month to help keep things going. But it was just every comment around mine was being read. And I'm like, am I hidden on this channel? But then I was just chatting with somebody else in the chat and they could see me. So I'm like, okay, I'm not hidden. Okay, cool. I'm just being totally ignored. I can, now that I know, I don't know what to think about that, but it's disconcerting when you're in the chat as well and someone is actually actively avoiding chatting with you and specifically only talking to either a handful of other people. But yeah, it is stressful. It is stressful. SMA Sky has joined us. Great to see you in here. Livestream Consultant says that happens more often in the bigger channels. It does, and part of it is because they are familiar names usually. It's like anything. Like if I recognize your names, like those of you that are here, I know you're here every week. I recognize your names in Nick's chats, in Doug's chats, sometimes in Roberto's chats, various other, like I saw some of you over in Daryl Eve's chat. Like these things, like you do recognize somebody's name. You do recognize their user handle. And it's nearly like seeing a familiar face in a crowd. So I get that it happens, but as the streamer, isn't it our job to make everybody feel included, not just the people that we're comfortable with? Like, I was reading some posts this week about, you know, how many introverts there are on YouTube, and I am definitely in camp introvert. And being able to be sort of a bit more outgoing and speak a bit more here in the safety of this room with you, not actually at the other side of the table. If all of you are in the same room as me, it would be a very, very different situation. I am quite nervous about that side of things going to Vid Summit, like just saying. But yeah, just definitely, it can be easier to focus on the names of the people that you recognize, but it is our job to try and not do that. But sometimes, especially if you're gaming or if you're actively doing something and you're kind of just catching a comment here and there, it's not ideal, but it is human nature. Does that make any sense at all? Doug's saying the larger the channel, the harder it is to manage the chat, the more help that might be needed. Look, I agree with you there, Doug. The number of large chats that I've been in where I can see no moderation happening, and no people helping out other people in the chat, and it's very much like a, you know, me chat. I sort of, those chats, those communities I don't enjoy. So I tend to just sort of quietly back out and not really get involved. But definitely, I definitely want to like think that I don't do that. Like, admittedly, our chat here is it's on the small side, which I actually quite like. And so it's not like, I saw who was it? It was Philip DeFranco live stream, and I'm not kidding. The stream moved so fast, it actually blurred. And it was on slow mode. And it actually blurred. And I've never seen a stream like that. That sort of chat speed was just, it was just the sheer number of people in there commenting. And you would absolutely need a team of people in there grabbing the comments to respond to them, because as a streamer, there's no physical way you would be able to read that chat. So you would have to have somebody who was actually stopping the chat, like on their screen, grabbing at something and throwing it to the streamer. But that's a team of people around you, whether it's moderators who are off site throwing it into a Google sheet. That there are ways to make this work if you're willing to make the effort. And there are ways to make this work. We try to respond to everybody, at least say hi to them. Absolutely. And it makes them feel connected to you. Like, I know I definitely feel, sorry, I've got the itchiest nose today. I definitely feel more connected to the people that actually go, oh, hey, Chantelle, it's great to see you in the chat. You know, or just something as simple as that. And just once, because there's a bazillion people in there. It doesn't have to be every 5 seconds, you know. I don't expect them to respond to all my questions. I'm going to throw them in there just in case, but I don't expect an answer. And I do see that happen sometimes where somebody will drop in a question. They'll drop the question in again. Then they'll drop in some snarky comment about not having their question read. And then they're like, I'm out. Like they're like airline departures. Because they expected that they were going to get this, you know, this one-on-one thing with this stream of hundreds and hundreds of people. So, yeah. SMA Sky says that they're an introvert, more or less. Yeah. Tech for Your Needs says it is good to include everyone, because that person can become a subscriber. They can absolutely become a subscriber. And even if they're not a subscriber, they're still a viewer. They're still there right now. And as long as they're not just being rude or writing something off topic, like as long as they're actively communicating in a way that's acceptable in your chat, then why not? Why not? Doug says, I think I saw a rare Mr. B stream do that. Yeah, oh, I could imagine. If I didn't realize he streamed, but yeah, I could imagine that if he streamed, it would totally do that. It would totally do that. Amazing Yacht Destination said, oh, did I miss something before then? I could understand if I did something wrong, but after 4 streams, I was done. I don't quite understand. Oh, here we go. No, I did. I missed a comment. I recently unsubscribed from someone I supported after the streamer started ignoring me. Wow. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I can totally see that, because like, especially if you're financially supporting them as well, or sharing their streams out, or whatever it is that you're doing to be supportive, And for them just to ignore you for 4 streams, yeah, it's I don't know the reasoning. I'm like, is it me? I'm hoping it's not me, but you're here, so it can't be me. Let's have a look here. Some of the space YouTubers get that fast, especially Everyday Astronaut or any of the big channels when they're in Texas for a Starship launch. Yeah, I can imagine. It's definitely understandable, especially on bigger channels or something that's happening really like a Starship launch where everyone's there right now because it's happening right this minute. But as I said, there are ways to help that streamer still interact with at least some members of the audience. In that instance where there's literal thousands of people, there's no physical way for a streamer to interact with every single one of them individually by name, but interacting with none of them is also not an option. So definitely bizarre. Let's have a look here. I've seen that super speed chat on the Ryan Hall, your weather channel, when he's covering the tornadoes and hurricanes. Yeah, look, I could, yeah. And I don't know how many people need to be chatting for it to get to the blur. I don't remember how many people were in the live stream of that Philip DeFranco that I saw. There was thousands though. There were thousands of people. Let's have a look here. Amazing Yacht Destination says, it's very important to greet people if the stream is low viewer. Definitely. Look, I'm all for, especially chatting with you guys here. I think it's super important to interact with each of you individually where I can. And I have that luxury because it is a more intimate group. It's a smaller group and I can do that. Now, if it was even say 100 people, it would be a lot harder. Now, the Firebrefic live streams, they hit up to 50 to 60 people at times. And usually I can still grab at least a hello for each of the new people as they come in. If they're coming in throughout the stream, it's a bit harder right at the start when everybody says hello. But you know, but I think getting over that 100, I've had 600 people in a stream. There was no way I could read all the comments. But I did try to grab as many as I could. But yeah, I don't know what that velocity of comment is before I start missing them. I don't hit it very often, I'll be honest. Yeah, I try to calm the people down. Esme Sky says, yeah, I try to calm people down and remind them there's 20k people in that chat. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and some people get like, he hasn't responded to me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but there is like, we get that with Nick streams every now and again. Like, it'll be a really busy chat. There could be 300 people in there, and this person's like, Nick didn't answer my question, and you're just like, I mean, is it in the form? And they're like, no, I put it here in the chat, and you're like, he's not going to get it. You need to pop it in the form. I don't want to use the form. Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you, Bob. That's a bit too loose. I need that coffee today. Doug says that he also tries to make sure that he greets people as he sees them, and sometimes you just straight up miss it. Like, you look away and the chat's moved and you totally missed someone come in. It does happen. We are still humans. Doug saying he saw another AI chat summary in the wild yesterday. I've only seen it twice so far. And it's not always like correct. Did you notice that? Like, it's not always like right. At least in the 2 instances, it was a 50-50. One was correct and one was a little less correct. Yeah, Amazing Yacht Destination says, I do understand when someone like Nick stream, there's a lot of people. Yeah, but when there's a smaller stream like this, everyone should get a hello, like at least a hello. As long as they comment. If you don't comment, I don't know you're here. YouTube's not Twitch. I can't see who's here until they comment. So if you are here and you are lurking and you haven't said hello yet, you could say hello. We're pretty nice in here. We try to be. Tech for Your Needs says, I'm respectful of people's time. That is one thing I value a lot. That is the time that they can be doing something else and they decide to spend it with me. Isn't that a big thing? Isn't that a big thing? And I don't think enough people really consider that. And not just with live streams, but also with watch time on videos. every time you take 5 minutes out of somebody's day with your video, that's 5 minutes they couldn't spend doing something else. And so understanding that time is finite, we do only have 24 hours in a day, and then take out any sleep hours, any work hours, any sort of family commitment time, that really does start to dwindle down into smaller and smaller amount of time. And so respecting when people have spent any of that time with you, like you guys, I always feel guilty on a day like today where I haven't done the proper research to put together a proper theme, because I feel like I'm disrespecting your time. Because I know you're here to learn. So I do try to glean something from the chat to make it into something. And I don't always succeed. Sometimes we just randomly talk about stuff. But I also understand sometimes just randomly talking about stuff is actually what people need. Like there are moments where you just need that relaxing, less intense education time. Whereas other times your brain's ready for like, give me the information. So I'm hoping today that you're not in that give me the information phase, because I think you'll be disappointed. I really do. Livestream consultant says, I haven't seen one yet on the different lives I've watched. Yeah, I think it's just really random. And I think I've only seen it logged in with one of my other accounts. I haven't seen it logged in with this account. So yeah, I think it's definitely still in beta. It's definitely still in beta. SMA Sky says, my streams, I'm not always at the computer, and sometimes I miss when somebody says something. I feel bad when I get back and they've sent like 4 or 5 messages 30 minutes earlier. Yeah, look, I mean, I know that like for you specifically, you're doing other stuff. But I think that most people actually have a screen right there that they can see all the time when they're streaming. I know when I was live die streaming, I didn't always catch all of the chat because I was focusing on the dying, making sure that I wasn't burning or destroying whatever I had, you know, in the pans. But everyone understood that in the chat, like the expectation was set. So yeah. Livestream consultant says, the proper theme here is to spend it with you on or off topic. The chat can and usually does fill in the gaps. Yeah, it does. It does. I do try to have at least a broad conversational point for us, but YouTube's been a little bit quiet on the news front, and I've been a little bit overwhelmed with all the new learning and fitting things in that I'm fitting in at the moment. So just trying to sort of keep on top of that, and it's I'm just in a learning phase at the moment. So we'll get back into it. So if you've got something in particular you want to know about and you've got a question about, please drop it in the chat. If I know the answer, I will help. If I don't, I will try and lead you to someone that can help. So I don't know everything on YouTube. I don't pretend to know everything, but I definitely am very good at helping you find the people who do know the answers. So that is my superpower, finding the people that can help you. Louis, what are you doing, man? You just, yeah. I checked his bowl this morning. When I got up, it was actually shiny empty. He's not a shiny empty boy, so I actually had to message my husband and go, did we get fed this morning? Because he is playing the starving dog. And he was like, no, he definitely got fed. Okay, let me have a look here. All right. So, one thing I want to say is I was a little concerned about StreamYard. I'm not going to lie. I was a little worried. I was chatting with Doug about it. And I was a little concerned of how things would go with some of the StreamYard stuff. And some of the things that I'm seeing and hearing are not awesome. People are not getting the tech support that they're used to. But in saying that, I'm still like, it's still my #1 pick for if I'm a guest, or if I'm a guest or hosting as a guest, things like that. I still prefer StreamYard for that sort of stuff. So when Doug and I co-stream, we're doing it through StreamYard. But at this stage, I'm still finding it to be the best option, at least for now. So I'm gonna keep a pin in StreamYard and keep an eye on it. I'm on Ecamm today. I love Ecamm so much. And I loved StreamYard a lot as well. It's definitely interesting how a business can change depending on who's at the helm. So we do have a question here. How do you deal with your tech woes, technical issues on the live stream? It's going to come down to what exactly the technical issue is. So sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes it's straight up, something is a bit wobbly, something is a bit janky. Like right now, I just saw before, not right this second, but just a few minutes ago, I saw that I had like a message from YouTube saying that my signal was weaker. There's nothing I can do about that. I have done everything on my end that I can. It is a Ecamm pushing through a lower bit rate than what YouTube would like issue. And I actually want to ask Ecamm about it, because I'm used to being able to, especially on OBS, which is the other software that I use, where I can choose where I'm placing everything, like, you know, where I can put my little Louis thing, and where I can move the little buy me a coffee thing around and put all the stuff where I want it. So it's just one of these things where it's going to depend on what the problem is, you know. And if it's something I can fix, I'll just help. Like, because of the kind of stream that I'm doing, I will try to just talk through it. Be like, okay, I'm going to be jumping over here and sorting this thing. Hey Claire, sorry, I did see you, and then I meant to say hello, and then I got sidetracked. Hello, it's great to see you. But you know, it's just going to depend on what the technical issue is. There are times where you're going to have to do a total reboot, you know, so you do have to, depending on who you're using. So if you're using StreamYard and you've got a reboot, that is great, because you can just throw up a Be Right Back screen, let that be running, reboot your whole system, come back in, and then turn off the Be Right Back screen. But some softwares don't hold the stream open. And so if you've got to go to that level, you're going to have to start a new stream, which is, it's not ideal, but you know, you have to sort of make that decision. The other day when Doug and I were live streaming together, I realized that there was something janky going on with my camera and it wasn't focusing. So I was able to just sort of drop it to Doug, so he was the only one on screen, and I restarted my camera. I turned it off and turned it back on again and set it back up, and it was all perfect, and then jumped back into the stream. Some of it you can do on the fly, but look, if you are not a technical person, build a Be Right Back screen. I do have a video on the channel here about how to build one. I was using Creator Mix Music and Tuber Tools overlays, and I built it in Premiere Pro, but you can do it in anything. You can do it in Canva, you can do it in whatever you want to do, but when you're bringing it over to your software, so whether it's StreamYard or Ecamm or whatever, make sure it's looping so that it just continuously goes until you've solved your problem. And that way, if you're more of a person who gets flustered, or I don't always get flustered, but sometimes I do, so having the Be Right Back screen is helpful. But just accepting that live stream shit happens. Honestly, it really does. Stuff just crashes and burns randomly. And like I've just gotten a message up again. Doug saying that Ecamm adapts based on your internet speed, but according to what I'm reading here, my internet speed hasn't changed, which is really perplexing. So my upload speed is still at the same speed it was, or within a few megabits of what it was. So I'm up around the 38 to 40 megabits per second upload, and I'm getting this error. So I get a little frustrated by that, because I can't actually control that. So I can't choose what Ecamm is sending out. I can't do that on StreamYard either. You can't choose it. The only one that I know of is OBS. Is that right, Doug? I'm not sure if Prism. I'm not sure if Prism Live lets you choose. I know Restream doesn't. But yeah, good job, Doug. In Doug's live stream this week, I was grabbing quotes of stuff that Doug said, so now he is getting me back. So thanks for that. Yeah, it's now I just want to jump back and push that chat back a little bit, just because there was another question here and I don't want to miss it. Yeah, oh yeah, there we go. That's how she does it. She gets her Be Right Back screen on, gets out her giant band hammer and whoops that tech until it gives in. There are times where I think a hammer will help me. It's great that you share how you overcome obstacles like the internet issues. Yeah, because this is the thing. When we're live streaming, we all have these issues. And sometimes it's things out of our control and sometimes it's things in our control. So showing you how to get to it and fix it and even just, like if everything was crashing and burning, I know full well that you guys would like let me take a deep breath and just solve the problem and just solve it. Like I know that would happen, but I also know in some streams that they don't, that the streaming audience aren't the same. They don't allow that. They don't allow for mistakes. So I think some of it comes down to the expectations that you set. And I think I said that earlier. You really need to be clear with the expectations. So here we have our group rules are in the description. We have Doug in here with his little wrench moderating, so keeping people sort of adhering to those rules. But also, I'm letting you know that this is a live stream, and as Doug has quoted, shit happens in live streams where sometimes it can just crash and burn. Sometimes you can have a perfectly good live stream and nothing happens. My husband will ask me tonight, oh, how did your live stream go? And then sometimes I'll be like, oh my gosh, all this stuff happened. And then other times I'll be like, oh yeah, it was cool. And he's like, is that it? And I'm like, yeah, nothing. It was fine. It was good. It was a good live stream. So yeah, it just depends. Home Rapid Repair says, I've had a few coaching calls I've done. We've used StreamYard in private. It's so stinking easy and it's better than a Zoom call. I 100% agree. I think, look, this is a hill I'll probably die on. You know how we all have our little hills? This is one of those ones. I don't think Zoom's all that good. I hear people that they just want everything to interact and connect with Zoom because Zoom is amazing. No, it's not. Zoom does terrible things. It compresses your video and your audio and it's just, and it's not that user friendly. If you want to do anything different, you've got to jump into the background and find like 4,000 different settings. It is not that simple and easy to use. Now, sure, if you're running a webinar and you have 50,000 guests at your webinar, yeah, maybe Zoom's what you need. But even then, I'm like, StreamYard webinar on air. Like, hello. Like, there are so many options that are better than Zoom. Every time someone sends me a Zoom link, I'm a bit like, oh, man, really? Okay. We're going into Zoom. But, I actually just I had a Zoom account, like a paid account up until recently. But what it was for this group of amazing women who during COVID, we set up Zoom rooms because a lot of them lived alone and they were by themselves and had no one to talk to. So I set up a Zoom room that was open every day at 7 p.m. so that people could jump in and just chat with each other. Now we just do it twice a week instead of 8 times a week. But we have a fantastic time, but we've moved that over to Discord now, where we have we actually have better quality video, same functionality, and it's free. And they don't boot us off after 40 minutes now that I no longer have a paid account. So yeah, it's just, there are so many options. There's so many options. So StreamYard is fantastic. And StreamYard, everyone's like, oh, but I can record my Zoom. You can record your StreamYard chat as well. Even if it's not live streaming, you can click record. Time to round file Ecamm and go to OBS. Look, I do like OBS, but I like Ecamm too. I haven't used OBS since I moved over to the Mac Mini, which is probably more about me than anything else. When I very first set up the Mac Mini, it was not connecting my webcam properly through OBS. It was being a real pain. So that's why I jumped over to Ecamm. And it just went, everything's perfect. I also love that with Ecamm, it's so simple to, like, this is just the old iPhone. This is my iPhone 7. Like, oh, look, there we go. I was like, show you the mess. There's the mess. Oh my God. But hang on, it's just cool. This is the old iPhone 7 and I've just got it plugged in for battery power. Oh, look, yeah, look, my desk is also a mess. But it just makes it super easy to be able to have like an additional camera using technology that was just laying around the house, because You know, this is my daughter's old phone. And because it's a Mac Mini and the iPhone, they play together nicely. I found it a lot harder. I had to actually buy software. So I've got Epoch Cam as well set up so that I can do it wirelessly as well. But I needed that if I'm doing it with OBS. So yeah, OBS, you can manually set a bit rate. That's exactly why I went with OBS. When I very first started streaming, I only had very low upload speeds. So I needed to be able to control, geez, Louis, I needed to be able to control the bit rates for the streams to have any chance of working. Claire says, if you build a community, they're generally more patient. They really are, because they have built, like you have already built a relationship with them. It's the people that come in outside of that aren't really sure of where they fit in within the group. So as long as your group is an inclusive group, then most people feel okay. But if it's all clicky and like, you know the thing, sometimes it's not enjoyable. SMA Sky says, I haven't done it yet, but occasionally my main camera and my telescope will lose connection and disappears. I plan on putting slideshow images under the camera window so when it closes, you get the slideshow. I like that. I like that. That's a good idea. Look, that's basically what I would say as well. The actual software is great. The product is great for now, but the people side of it's definitely gone downhill. I would 100% agree with that statement. Zoom is okay if you're only connecting with a small group to keep it manageable. Otherwise, StreamYard or something like Kajabi with the webinar feature is way better. OBS 30 is much more compatible with the M Series Max. Okay, all right. I'll definitely have to update. I don't know what I've got, but it was 2 years ago. I want to say 2 years ago. It might not be quite that long, but I'll check it. Amazing yacht destinations. Sorry, Lewis. I was always sitting on the fence on StreamYard and EVMux, and now I'm leaning towards EVMux, but I still use OBS. Look, and this is the thing. We have so many options and we have so many choices that you can just go around, and most of them have a free trial. Like StreamYard has a free level plan where it's not even a trial length. Ecamm, I think it's 7 days or 14 days. But you can have a try. You've got the opportunity to go live using the software. There might be watermarks or whatever, there may not be, but you can work out if their workflow works for you. And I highly recommend that everyone does that, because what works for me may not be what works for you. Now, sure, I've got links for StreamYard and Ecamm in the description below because they're the ones I currently prefer. But it's not saying OBS isn't solid. It's not saying that EVMux isn't solid. It's just not what I'm using. And so I tend to try and keep it to what I'm currently using in the descriptions, so that even though I do use a, cut and paste description, it's still valid and relevant. And I'll go in, like if I'm using something else, I'll go in and add that additional information into the description if I can. Definitely, but I definitely want to have a bit more of a dig on Prism Live for sure. Let me have a look here. EVMux is similar to OBS in the fact it's a bit of a learning curve, same as Prism Live. Yeah, and vMix is another one. So if you're a Windows user, vMix is also an option. But it's very heavy duty. It's very it's professional level live streaming software, vMix. But it is also really good. It's another solid one. So if you're not on Mac and therefore Ecamm's not an option for you, definitely check out vMix. So just the letter V, M-I-X. I had it a few years ago and I just loved it. I thought it was great. But when I've moved over to the Mac, it's Windows only. So yeah, I do like, I love, look, how do I describe this? I love having the flexibility to bring in like widget overlays and have this image of Louis on the screen and have my Ecamm Live up, not Ecamm, have my little coffee thing up here. Being able to control these and move these around to exactly where I want them at any point. Unlock them and just move them around. I currently have them locked because I'm that person that fiddles. But unlock them, move them to wherever you need them. Make them in exactly the positions that you want. And I absolutely love that. So for me, that means vMix, Ecamm Live, OBS, Prism Live. And I think EV Mux to a degree. Like if you go in and use like not their basic settings, but their advanced settings, you can do that in EV Mux. So you're not locked to what they want you to use. Whereas StreamYard definitely has set sort of, and you can create your own to a degree. Like I can make these all curved edges if I want. If I want to go in and make Louis' frame a curved edge, can I do that right now? Let me just see. No, I can't. There we go. Because I've got it locked. So let me just see if I can. Where is the Louis cam? Oh, no, I don't want to play with it too hard because I don't want to break it. But basically, I could go in and I can create something, and I can add in another camera. Let's just add in another camera. Plus the camera. Where did it go? Oops. No, I don't want to play. But basically, I can go in and add different things. Delete that one. Delete that one. There we go. But yeah, I can change things. I can move things around, like when I'm not stressed out and, you know, thinking about it. Whereas you can't so much do that with Ecamm, not Ecamm, with StreamYard to the same degree. Browser source for the win. Absolutely. Look, it's becoming, not having access to a browser source is becoming a deal breaker, which is why I don't stream with StreamYard as much, because it's becoming a deal breaker. And yes, I know I can bring Ecamm or OBS into StreamYard as a virtual camera. Absolutely, I understand that. But that in itself creates extra breakpoints within your Wirecast. That's the other one. Yeah, but having all these additional extra steps and all these additional extra things are just extra breakpoints. Now, that's one of the advantages of StreamYard, right? Is that it does simplify everything. And if you just need like a shot like this, where it's just your face, like maybe not with a little Louis cam, but you could have that as well, but it would normally be, you would have to have it up here or something like that. You wouldn't normally get to choose where you want it, or at least not on the fly. But not having access to browser source is becoming a deal breaker for me. Let's have a look at this. It's interesting, out of all the streams I watch and part of, none of them use vMix. Some of the channels have well over 500,000 subs. vMix tends to be more for, it's more broadcast quality. So it's not so much for live streamers, it's used for a lot of television. So, you know, and creating content in that regard. So it's that next level of professional software. Estimates guy said, I hate it when I break things. I spent an hour or more fixing and tweaking 3 different profiles in OBS today. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I agree that StreamYard should totally have browser source at this point. And why don't they? Is my big question. Is it really that hard? Like with that entire teams of engineers that they had, was it actually that hard to add that in as an overlay source? So yeah. One program that I've seen, but it seems no one else is using except churches, is Pro Presenter. I haven't heard of that one. So yeah. I agree. Why can't they just have an advanced tab for the people that want more functions? I agree. I get that they want ease of use. I really do. They want to make it as simple for people coming into learning streaming as possible. And it's still the first software I recommend for ease of use. Absolutely, hands down. But why not have a tab? Like that's what EV Mux has. EV Mux has the basic simple stuff, but then you can go in and you can go and use their advanced stuff as well. And you get to choose, like if you're, and sometimes you'll be like, why can't I have this easy thing that I like over here in the advanced as well? And it's because this is the advanced tab. And if you're in here, you're making it all yourself. So yeah, Streamlabs is a solid option. I'm a little risk averse to Streamlabs from when they did the dodgy a little while back. And so I tend not to use them just because of personal preference, but they are solid as well. They're using, are they still an overlay of OBS even after all the stuff? But I started with Streamlabs before I knew any better, and then I moved over straight to OBS as well. Livestream Consultant says, I would pay a little more for StreamYard Pro to have that advanced tab to more customize the stream. And that's the thing, right? Doug's bringing up all the great zingers. Good job, Doug. Livestream Consultant says, I'd pay a little more for StreamYard. Bring that back. StreamYard Pro to have that advanced tab to more customize the stream. I agree with you. And I think that even just having it available for the pro levels, so not the basic and not the free plans, but into the pro plans. So if you're already a streamer who doesn't want to accept anything less than 1080p, then obviously you might have the want for something like browser sources, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But you may not. And maybe not have it as pay more for it, but maybe as an inclusion as they're shredding things out of the system. I don't know. Rebel Cannon, it's great to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Doug's laughing. I can just hear him laughing in my head. But yeah, oh, it's raining again. Interesting. So yeah, do you have any other questions like about streaming softwares? I really do need to have a dig in and check some of the updates on some of the softwares. I'm not as up to date as I should be. I've been really keeping up to date with StreamYard and Ecamm because they're the two that I predominantly use, but not so much on the others. I'm just watching my Rodecaster just because every now and again it is just dropping out and not being awesome. So, and I don't know if it's the Mac or if it's the Rodecaster that's doing it. The Rodecaster itself is not turning off, so it's nearly like the audio source is changing in the computer. I don't know, but it's frustrating. What is something that happens to you during a live stream that you wish didn't happen? Like, let me know in the chat. That's a question for you all. It's something that happens in some of your live streams, probably more than once. But yeah. Oh, here we go. We've got a list of things. Browser source. Livestream Consultant wants browser sources, multiple cameras, customer stinger transitions. Yeah, look, you know what? I agree with all of these. Absolutely. And I think it'd be really nice for you not to have to, to be able to present something like a presentation, to not have to go in and screen share a Google Sheets presentation, sort of, not Google Sheets, Google. So basically, if I make something in Keynote, I can't use it. I have to go and move it over to other software or run it as a full screen share rather than just as an upload. It's got things that just like make me go grr. All good. All good. Thank you for jumping in. Definitely appreciate that, Michael. But yeah, having some of these additional features that other softwares already have as standard, I think StreamYard are going to have to catch up because they used to be able to lean in heavily on how good their customer service was and how, but you know, there's less of that customer service. Bringing in the other guests on StreamYard, it's hard to see them in the green room. You have to remember to scroll down to see them. Oh, are you on a phone or like, because like I have everything full screen, so all my guests just along the bottom. I do have to remember to look down, but I don't necessarily have to scroll. It depends. The other thing that I think is really important to remember is that the functionality these softwares have, whether it's Ecamm or StreamYard or OBS or any of them, you should still have your YouTube live streaming monitoring open. So what is that area called, Doug? My brain just totally gave out on me. I can't think of the name of it, but yeah, where you can watch the back end of the live stream, you can see the analytics, the stream settings, but you can also see the actual live chat happening right there. Because if you need to moderate, if you need to add a moderator, if you need to do any of that stuff, it's open, it's right there. And sure, you know what, if you're running a single screen, it's trickier. But even if you've got it behind that screen or in a different tab and need to switch to it, having it open means that you're already there and you're already ready. The dashboard, thank you, Doug. The dashboard. That's the word I couldn't remember. But having all of that available to you at like a click, rather than having to go and open a new tab, go and open your thing, go, you know, click, 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 all this sort of stuff, already have it open. Don't just rely on these softwares to do everything for you. They're not going to. So have your source where you're going to in the background as well. If you're streaming to YouTube, if you're streaming to Facebook. Now, I'm notorious for only having YouTube open, and while I'm streaming right now to LinkedIn as well, but I don't tend to have too many people from LinkedIn commenting or chatting, and so I don't tend to remember to have it open just purely because of that. But if you are whatever platform you're streaming to, have that open as well. Stick it on mute. If you can shut the actual window of video down and just have your chat there, then do that if internet's an issue for you. But you just need to have a look at it. Legal Mind with Karen says that you're on your computer screen, but you had 5 on. So don't they, like, I thought you could have, is it only 4 across and you've got to scroll down for the 5th, is it? Because I have no problems with 4. I'm just trying to think if I've had more than 4 on at a time. I don't know, honestly. I don't know the answer to that one. But yes, I think that you should be able to see them all at the same time. Livestream Consultant says, I've had the power crash more than once now, causing OBS to have a spaz attack and lose everything I was recording, as well as the internet crashing to the power dropping. Now, that is one of the big advantages of using StreamYard, is that you do have everything that you've been working on saved in the cloud. And everything stays open until you come back in. Or at least, I think you've got, what is it, 10 minutes? I think you've got 10 minutes to get back in there. But yeah, if you've got power issues, I would be, and it's a regular power issue, I would seriously be considering an uninterruptible power supply or two. Especially if it's causing issues and the internet crashing due to the power dropping. Yeah, I would also be trying to connect your routers and what have you to that power uninterruptible power supply as well, UPS. I don't have UPS set up, but I regret it like all the time, and it's just a cost thing. I should just go out and find 2. I need 2, so I need one for this room and one for another room, which is where all the internet stuff is, and put my NBN router and my Wi-Fi router on that. But definitely consider UPS if you're having power issues, because it's always going to be an issue. Like, sure, you don't want to put your lights on it or anything like that, but if you can get your computer onto it and your internet onto it, it should totally help in those instances. And if you are live streaming or recording for other people and they're paying you for this service, then that is something you should seriously consider. It's a UPS. So yes. Hello, Brandon's Recovery. Great to see you. And Island Life in Tasmania. It's good to see you as well. Thanks for jumping in. We're just having a chat just about random YouTube and live streaming stuff. So if you've got a question for me, drop it in. So yeah, just, you know, we're having a talk at the moment just about troubleshooting and about the different advantages and disadvantages of the various live streaming softwares and what they can and can't cope with. While I drink more coffee. I'm going to drink some more coffee. Is it nearly empty? It's nearly empty. So having some backups, like we've had this discussion in previous live streams, I'm a backup to the backups kind of person. I've got multiple microphones, I've got multiple cameras, I've got multiple lights, I've got backup lights that aren't currently on that I can flick on if need be. Like if this one dies, I've got another one I can just turn on. Admittedly, I will have to get up and turn it on. It's not your beauty. That's something I'm actually looking for next. Like after I finish saving up for my new computer, that will be the next thing. Is I have 2 lights and I love these lights. They're great lights, but they are not, like, I literally have to physically lean over and turn them on. And I can have their power turned off and on. Like this one here, it's just an old, you know, softbox. My brain didn't want to give me the work. It's just an old softbox, but I've got it plugged into a power point that can flick it off and on because it's got like a physical switch to leave it like on. Whereas these other ones, when they turn off, and you turn their power back onto them, you actually still have to tap a button on the back to make them come on. So I do find that a little frustrating, and especially with the location of one of them, it's like it's hard to get to. So that would be the next thing, the next buy for me. I try not to have. I've been very, very good about, you know, buying stuff for my setup over the last little bit because I'm pretty content. So now it's just a case of upgrading things as they tick me off. And like just sort of being content and happy with what you have to a degree. But if I'm going to keep an eye on it, if I spot a light that will do what I want it to do on special or something like that, I'll grab a couple. So yeah, let's have a look here. Since we're rebuilding, Livestream Consultant says, since we're rebuilding our streaming booth after the last power drop, we are going to run the entire booth and the internet on a separate solar system with signal wave inverters to run everything. Okay. But also keep in mind that sometimes the solar power, depending on how it's set up, that can also fluctuate a little. So you want to make sure that you still have your UPS set up, no matter where your power source is coming from. Island Life in Tasmania says, I'm just looking forward to a stable internet connection here, but they are upgrading in our city at the moment. Where in Tasmania are you, just out of curiosity? Yeah, look, Australia is notoriously bad for its crap internet. If you have a look at where Australia stands in the world on internet speeds, last check, we were at number 66. We are not great. Look, we have a massive country, like geographically huge, but all our people are around the edges with a few dotted around the middle and a little island down the bottom. We've actually got a few islands, but a biggish island, Tasmania, down the bottom. Oh, you're in Burnie. Okay. And this makes life really painful for having high-speed internet. Now, a few years back, the government decided to solve this problem and introduced the NBN, which was the national broadband. And then governments do what governments do. And then they downgraded and they're like, oh, we can do it cheaper. And it became a political thing for the next election. We can make this cheaper than anybody else. So instead of running fiber optics everywhere, which was the plan, they ran fiber optics to the copper nodes, which meant they then, like, technically that was cheaper because then they didn't have to run fiber optic to every individual home because every home already had the copper lines. But then what happened was, what they didn't realize is they didn't actually, the technology had not been invented to connect fiber optic to copper. So then they had to jerry rig up a nightmare to make that actually work, which blew out the costs and ended up costing more than if they had just run fiber optic everywhere. So the NBN is trash, like in Australia. Like there's a few people who are really happy because they have fiber to their premises, but even then our upload speeds are capped, and I don't understand why. You guys don't cap them in the US. Like there's people in this stream who have 1 gig down, 1 gig up. Like I've got a friend here in Australia who has fiber optic connected and to their home. They are a large YouTube channel that upload speeds are severely important. They paid a premium price to have it connected. They still have, like, they have the gig down, but they're limited up still. I think they've got 100 up, which is still way better. Like for me in a standard residential, the best I've been able to get for me, which is the coaxial which is a slightly different connection. So it's rather than connecting to copper, it was connecting to cable. So I had cable internet previously. But anyway, the best I've been able to get is 100 down and 40 up. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you're competing on a scale of people who've got 1 down, 1 up, and you know. But when I first started streaming, I had 5 down and 2 up. 1 to 2 up, which is why I needed OBS, because that way I could really drop down that bit rate. I was only streaming at 720 because I was just not going to cope streaming anymore. So sometimes based on what physical limitations we have to make decisions based on those limitations. So if you have got low or low internet uploads and downloads, use something like OBS where you can control your bitrate speed. So if you've got, you know, like 4 up, like 4 megabytes a second up. I'm talking megabytes a second, not gigabytes. If you've got 4 megabytes a second upload, you want to make sure that you're streaming out less than that, because you don't want to be hitting those limits and then having swirlies and gigs. So you want to drop that down to, so you're uploading at say 3,500 rather than the 4, because they do fluctuate. It's not like okay, I'm getting 4 and it's going to stay 4 the whole time. It fluctuates. So allowing for that fluctuation will make life a bit easier for you. But live streaming with low internet is not impossible, but you have to understand that you are likely not to be able to, you won't be getting 4K uploads, possibly not even 1080p. But as a lot of people are watching on their phones, if you can do 1080p or 4K, then do it. If you can't, 720 is fine. Do 720. 720 is better than nothing. Right now, here we go. Live stream consultant says right now where my bigger boost setup, I have 350 down and 41 up. Yeah, like we're about the same for uploads. And as live streamers, that upload figure is the one that you need to be looking at. I was chatting with somebody and I'm like, what's your internet speeds? And they kept just giving me the download speed. They're like, I don't understand why there's a problem. My download's at 100 megabits per second. And you're just like, but what's your upload speed? And they're like, yeah, but my download is this. I'm like, I don't care about the download. What is the upload speed? And then when they did a full speed test, their upload speed was only at like 3. And it turned out they had something constantly pushing a signal out of their home. So they were able to shut that down, which increased their upload speed. But it was just like understanding what it is that we need versus what it is that we think we need is always pretty important too. Island Life in Tasmania says, yeah, my phone works better than the home connection. Oh, isn't that disappointing? When I had my shack out the front before we got the Google Mesh, I quite often had to live stream hotspotted to my phone or tethered to my phone because the internet did not make it. And I tried Wi-Fi boosters and they just didn't cut it. The Google Mesh was really great for that. That made a huge difference to our connectivity issues that we had around the house for our Wi-Fi. But I don't know if I'd still recommend it. I think I would. I've been loving it. I haven't had any issues with it at all. Love it a lot. But making sure that everything works in harmony together. When we're live streaming and you can't hardline, like my top idea is hardline connect your computer to your internet. Like absolutely, if that's what you can do, then do that. But if you can't, the next best source. So you just want the stability. You're better off having slightly lower quality if you've got the stability on that lower quality. SMA Sky says, my basic laptop can barely handle processing streaming out 2 1080p streams, which reminds me, I think it was your comments I mentioned in the vertical live resolution. Oh, I'm not sure what that's about, but okay. But yeah, and that's the other thing. Like if you've got low internet speeds, you may not be able to do multi-streaming. If you are using something other than say StreamYard, which handles the full load, if you're using, oh, that rain really is hitting. If you're using something like StreamYard or Ecamm or some of these other softwares where you have to push out the multi-stream as you yourself. So you have to have the physical bandwidth to be able to do that. You need to make that decision. Is multi-streaming for you? Because it may not be until your internet situation is sorted, or you utilize something like StreamYard where it multi-streams on your behalf. So, you know, just check it out. Just see how you go. Let's have a look. Oh, they're having a convo there. Yeah. So on that note, everybody, it is nearly 10:30 here. So I'm going to get on with my day. So good to see you all in the chat. I really appreciate you jumping in week after week, listening to me ramble about coffee and all those things, as well as trying to help you with your YouTube and live streaming questions. I hope to see all of you here. I'm just like thinking of the weeks. Yes, next week I will be live streaming. So I'll be tired because I'm running a retreat the whole weekend before it, but I will be back on deck next week, and I will see you next time. Yeah, I also can't wait till Vid Summit. I am very overexcited about the whole thing, and I'm trying to just keep it locked down. I've got other things I've got to get done first. Like I've got my retreat to get through first. Have an awesome weekend. Not weekend. What are we talking about? Well, yeah, it could still be weekend for you. I'll catch you all next time. Bye now. Not going to work? My thanks for watching screen is gone. I know there it is.